Welcome to a special message from Ask Mama E Ministries as we start a fresh new year. We want to make sure that you are prepared for the upcoming year. Come and join us for a special New Year's edition.
Hello, everybody. It's Mama E again. And, I say that every week because we have been bringing these telecasts, these broadcasts to you for quite a while. And I'm grateful that we've gotten another chance. My generation used to sing a song, Just Another Day That the Lord Has Kept Me, and I'm not going to go there, but I am grateful for the opportunity to share with you again. If you're new to Ask Mama E, our purpose and our mission is to build and encourage healthy families and strong relationships. I have been busy at my assignment now for almost 25 years. And what I bring to you is godly wisdom. In Titus, the scripture says, let the older women teach the younger. And so my hope is that all of the years of experience and the things that I have gone through has made me who I am, and therefore one that's able to at least share with you how to get there. Very often we try to get advice from someone who's also trying to go, when the truth of the matter is that you can't tell me how to get there because you've never been. And so my hope is that there will be something said through the many videos that we have now put through digital methods, just so that I can kind of share the things that life has taught me. My hope is that I can keep you from falling. And if you decide that your way is better, if you decide that, I hear you, Mama E, but I think I can do it differently, that's fine. If you should choose to do that, my hope is that I'll come along and help you if you fall. Well, we're starting a new year. Thank God that, again, He has given us an opportunity to go into a new year, a new season. And I thought today I would just maybe give you some pointers, some things that you might think about that might help the next year be successful, that might help you not bring some negativity into the new year. Let's leave some of that stuff in our past. Let's leave it so that we won't have to go through the pain, the rejection, the disappointment, all of the things that we might have gone through in 2023 that we found were not helpful. And so we're going to kind of make it our business, make it our point, not to take the bad attitudes, the bad choices, all of the things that were not good. We're deciding now not to take it into 2024. One of the things that I think could be an attitude change has to do with us recognizing that we need to change self. The mistake that we often make is that we might try to force our partner, our husband, our spouse, our friend even. We might try to make them change. And I am convinced that we might not be successful in changing others. You can only change you. So let's work on changing self first. So that if I recognize that a lot of the things that I might see that I don't necessarily like, and so I set it upon myself to try to change the other person. Let me just at least recognize and suggest to you that you might want to change you. I'm going to work on changing Mama E, because I've learned that others might not be apt to change, at least not readily. So that if you learn to change you, it's quite possible that the other person might follow suit. You know, I've learned that we look at things differently. And sometimes it's just a matter of changing our perception that will keep us from spending a lot of time, effort, and energy trying to change the other person. My pastor often says that when you change the way you look at things, the things you're looking at will change. And I've learned so much from that. It's about how I look at it. You know, we can argue forever about the sky being blue, and you say, no, it's not blue, it's lavender, and the clouds aren't white, they're light gray. And so many times we find ourselves in these situations where it is all about perception. And if you think about it, sometimes we are bound and determined, as my mother would say, to see it this way, and nothing you can say or do will cause me to change. Let me just at least suggest that if there is an argument that continues to come up, that maybe it could just mean that we need a change in perception. The other thing that I want you to remember as you go into 2024 is that very often the things that we argue about, the things that we consider just so important, if you really stop and look at it, is it really that important? Is it really something that we need to continue to disagree on, I often say the argument really could be put aside, if you're not going to write it in your obituary, if in the funeral program when it's time for you to leave here, that it's not important enough to read at that time, then why is it important enough now to take even 1 ounce, 1 inch, 1 moment of the time that you have left on earth? I often think I'm a widow now, and I've gone through stages in my life where I look back at times that we discussed. We won't call it arguing. Why don't we call it discussions, maybe even heated discussions? But if you look back on those things that you thought were important enough for you to go through it, go over it over and over again, and yet if I look back at the end of my journey and I ask myself, was it really important? Do you know that many of those things I'd have to say no? Let me share something real silly with you, but I share it all the time because I hope that you've got an issue, a situation in your life that you had at some time that at the time you thought was vehemently important. If I've shared this before, or you've heard me share it before, just give me a minute, because somebody hasn't heard it. My washcloth story. I used to like to have, and still like to have, my matching towels and washcloths on the rack, the shelf right near the sink. And so I would like to make sure that they're all in the place where I think they need to be, and I don't want you to change them. I don't want you to leave them on the sink. Well, that used to be an ongoing situation that I tried to change my husband's viewpoint, his perception. I needed him to see how important it was to have matching towel sets in the right place. And do you know that there reached a point where I recognized that just maybe it wasn't that important. I had really some options. Number one, I could have chosen to just hang the thing up. Just if it wasn't where I wanted it, that it would take, what do you think? 5 seconds? 30 seconds. It would take 30 seconds for me to hang it up. Wash, cloth, towel rack is here. Just put it there and everybody's happy. But no. I needed my husband to recognize that I just was not going to allow, I was not going to accept him not putting the towel, the washcloth, where I wanted it. And now, after 50 years of marriage, we broke up for a while, we remarried, all of those years of experience, and now he's gone. And if I had to say to you whether or not I would recommend that fight, if in fact I tell you to stick your flag in this hill, please understand that I learned that it was not life-threatening. It was not even valuable. I want you to look back through your earth experiences and decide what are the things that you have considered important, that you have drug into 2023 and however many years prior to that. I need you to decide whether it's worth it to take it into 2024. Remember, it's all about perception. And if it's not important enough to drag into the future, take it from me. Mama E is suggesting that you leave it. Leave it in the past and don't bring it with you into the future. Another thought that I'd like for you to think about in terms of attitude changes. Are you dependent on your partner? Are you one of those people who just have to have constant companionship, if you will? If you're one of those people that just have to be around that person all the time, you are not happy, you're not content if you don't see them, talk to them. Are you a needy individual in that you want to make sure that that person knows that you need them? Now, understand that we all have needs, we all have wants, we all have things that, are part of showing our love for the person. I want you to give some thought to whether or not you are clingy. Are you one of those got to have people that, you define love as dependency? Are again, want you to think about whether or not you're going to drag that dependent attitude into 2024. Several problems, I think, can emerge from a relationship where the partner's dependency has not been resolved. Very often, again, we think that we are just not going to be able to breathe if that person is not there. Sometimes the dependent person begins to take care of their partner in various ways. They might provide a measure of safety, and sometimes we misinterpret that the thing that I am dividing for her, I might call love. On the other hand, it might mean something totally different. That sometimes, we require things of the people that we love in exchange for what we give. I buy you things, I pay your light bill. And even though many of the things that I do in terms of providing comfort and making your life easy, all of those things might be good. They might be in the beginning of relationships, might be interpreted as love. But I want you to be careful that you don't drag those needs for what I want you to do for me. I don't want you to call it love. Because what happens if the time comes when you're no longer able to do things? Sometimes those things can be an unhealthy dependency. When a person, a partner, or lover doesn't respond by taking care of the dependent one, the dependent partner can then feel unloved and unfairly treated. So, just another one of those attitude changes that I hope you'll make. As you go into the new year, evaluate whether or not you are clingy, if you are needy, if you are got to have type of person. When people said, I don't know what I'd do without him, chances are you'd live. God promised certain things to us, and he is the one, the only one who can live up to his promises. Others who we put our confidence in, others that we put our trust in, others that we say we love based on what they do for us, we don't have the wherewithal to make sure they're always here to do those things. What happens if they're gone? What if they leave the relationship? All of those what ifs are things we need to think about in terms of whether or not we're going to cling so closely on that person. Take it from Moma E, that if you trust in the Savior, if you will rely and depend on him, he is the one who can keep his promises. All right, another thought, another attitude change that, again, I hope you will make as you go into the new year. There are many of us who have trust issues. What do I mean? Some of us have had circumstances that have come up in our past lives, and because of the things that might have happened in past relationships, we find it difficult to trust new relationships. We find it hard to accept this new person, and we're constantly looking to see if they are going to do what Joe did, if they are going to be guilty of the things that we experienced that hurt us in the past. Sometimes we've had situations where we have not been able to get past that hurt. Perhaps they were unfaithful. Perhaps they cheated on us. There could be any number of things that might have happened in past relationships that we find it really difficult to let it go. If you've had trust issues in the past, try not to let those issues follow you into the future to the extent that you can't have healthy relationships with another individual because you are so afraid that they might do what the other person did. Whatever you need to do to get beyond the trust issues, everybody is not going to do to you what the other person did. So then, I want you now to start asking God to equip you with what He recognizes you need in order to get beyond the hurt that you experienced before. I know that there are so many people who are kind of always looking over their shoulder to just see if, in fact, the new person is doing what the old person did. And I'm just not going to stand for it. And so I will watch, I will check their cell phone. I will read to make sure that there aren't text messages, because after all, I might experience what I did before. And because it was so painful, what I want to do is make sure that it doesn't happen again. Don't allow yourself to be caught up in the pain, the hurt, the dissatisfaction, whatever it was that was painful before. It doesn't have to be like that the next time. So don't bring with you into the future those things. What are the things that I might work on now that can make me truly better? One of the things that I think you want to be careful to do is that you become a better you. That regardless as to what has been a part of your past, I want you to recognize and identify that you can have a better life in your future, that your best you can look at the things I told you earlier to identify what were those things that were painful in your past. Don't allow yourself to clutch onto that and hold on to it to the extent that you can't bring the good things. If you look at all the things that you experienced, there were some things that you experienced that were good. I know the devil will make you think that everything that happened in your life was bad. But if you will identify and recognize the good that went on, the blessings that you had that were given to you in your past. Sometimes because we're so careful and we're constantly looking at all the things that happened in our past that were not good, we fail to see all of the things that were. How many prayers were answered in the past? And because you don't identify them, you forget to appreciate them. So if you then will allow yourself to be grateful for all of the wonderful things that happen, the new job, the job, the situations that were improvements on the job. We got raises on the job. You got promoted on the job. All of those things, the new house, the new apartment, the furniture that you were able to get, all of the blessings that came to you. How dare we only dwell on those things which were not necessarily favorable? If you then dedicate 2024 to being grateful, thankful, and appreciative for all of the good things that happen, I think that it will be easier for you to stop dwelling on the negatives. So then, lastly, I want you to work on changing. I need you to think about the things in your future that you are going to decree and declare that you will not drag into your future. Let it stay in the past where it was. I heard someone say once that the reason your vehicle has a small rear view mirror as opposed to a huge the windshield the front window. Oh gosh, I'm sorry. The things that because what you ought to focus on is the things that are in front of you and not the things behind you. If you constantly look in the rear view mirror, the likelihood is that you're going to miss something in front of you. That possibly while I'm looking at my rear view mirror at what's coming up behind me, I could very easily have an accident. There can be an injury based on the fact that I was so busy looking back that I could not see what was in front of me. If you then will make some promises, these are just a few of the things that I'd recommend, that you get rid of your trust issues, that you stop being dependent on whomever, that you work on your perception and change the way you look at things, that you will work on your emotions so that you are not constantly dwelling on the things that you want other people to do. Your emotions do not have to be negative. That God gave us emotions, and so you can decide what you're going to do with those emotions that we have. Emotions are not necessarily bad, but if you only dwell on the bad emotions, anger and all of the things that we don't see as positive, that were not given to us to be positive, to be helpful as we go on. All of these are things that can really be helpful, be beneficial as you go into the new year. If you will decide now that you are going to make some attitude changes, some things that didn't work in 2023, chances are will not work in 2024. Decide now what you're going to do in this new year that's going to make your best you go, are the things that you will experience in the new year. I totally hope that you can experience the good, the happy, the best. And I pray that as we go into New Year's, that you will join me again for the things that just might be helpful, might be beneficial in helping you make it through. This has been Mama E, and I look forward to sharing with you again next time.
thank you so much for joining us for this amazing crossover experience. We have some exciting announcements from the individual churches. All Nations Church is hosting an in-person women's fellowship on January 21st, 2024 at 5 p.m. They also have an online Bible study every Thursday at 7 p.m. Don't forget, they will be having communion on January 7th. New Horizon Church is having a special communion service on January 7th at 9:30 a.m. to celebrate the death, burial, and resurrection of the Lord Jesus Christ. They will also be having 14 days of prayer and fasting from January 7th through the 16th. Join Pastor Earl Matthews and the members for a time of consecration. Tune in to the New Horizon Ministry radio show every Tuesday from 6:30 to 6:45 p.m. as they proclaim the Word of God. The center is scheduling updated photos for all pastors and churches to help promote their individual ministries. They will also be assisting with developing new flyers and marketing information. Please schedule an appointment in the Band app. If you're interested in writing a book, please sign up with Daphne to be a part of the HC Writing Club. Ministry vocal training is available every Tuesday at 6 p.m. The facility will be hosting an equipment giveaway for new churches on the last week of February on a Saturday. The convocation for the hospital church will be held the last week of February from Thursday to Sunday. We invite all churches to come and share in this amazing experience, featuring national preachers from all around the country. If any ministries are interested in starting a podcast or expanding their midweek services on a larger platform, please see Bishop Jackson. He is offering the option to utilize the Inspired Television Network to reach a larger audience. Bishop Jackson and Lady Vicky kindly request that any churches needing to schedule special upcoming dates submit all the necessary information as soon as possible so that we can coordinate our annual calendar. Once again, thank you for being a part of the HC Multicultural Center. You are the heart and soul of our work, the hands and feet of Jesus. We truly appreciate your support in bringing our vision to life.
Join us in celebrating Bishop Z's birthday on Sunday, January 7th at 12:30 at the Hospital Church of Jacksonville. Bishop Z is the president of St. Thomas University, founder of an Inspired TV network, and senior pastor of the Hospital Church. He is a dedicated community activist, philanthropist, and friend to the nation. We'll have a special guest speaker, Pastor Carl Odom.
Toiled and snared, I made it by the grace of God. Toiled and snared, I made it.
Gifts and love tokens can be sent via Cash App or check payable to the Hospital Church. Let's honor this amazing man of God together.